Hey folks, Amy and Brian here from Colorado Mountain Living.
How's it going?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
January 1st. So what are you guys up to today? I like to tell you what we got into.
I bet we had way more fun than you did.
Yeah, we had a really good time today. So as you can tell by the title of our video, we had a surprise waiting for us when we came back from vacation, and we didn't know it yet until the next day.
I got the text message at work.
Yeah, I had flushed the toilet in the morning, and then the next thing I noticed is that the floor drain was backing up and the whole floor was water. Of course, I didn't think to grab a camera in that moment because I was panicking, but I'll show you what I did catch on camera after I vacuumed up a lot of it. But yeah, turns out that our septic system froze while we were on vacation.
Yep.
So yeah, one of the dreams that, it's like, it's, not a nightmare, right? For everybody, it's like one of the dreams that you have about how I want to start my new year, or what I want to do with my house besides work on the floors.
It only gets better from here.
Yeah, this has got to be like just the very bottom of our 2019, just going on up from here. But we'll tell you the story about what happened with our septic. So hang tight. So I cleaned up the majority of the backflow, but you can see the wetness here around the drain. In fact, if I got really close to the drain, the water's like right there, and it stinks. It's definitely, the sewer water. It's still in this channel here in the concrete, and that's because I actually left the house to run some errands, and I forgot to take the condensate hose out of the drain. So our plumber had made it so this would drain into this PVC pipe and then, go down the regular drain. Oh, here's our cat. You see? So anyway, I've got it draining into a pot here. So our thought was that this very, very slow trickle that's coming out of this condensate from our furnace system, I'll connect to that video if you haven't seen it yet. But it's like a couple drops, it's not much that's coming out of that. It's just a few drops here and there. And we think that because we were gone, you can see the drops coming out. So the drop, it's a very, very, very slow trickle. It's a very small amount of water. And without us being home to put large amounts of water through the pipes, we think that this is what's contributed to the freeze. Now, obviously, it also has to do with the septic tank outside needing more dirt on top of it. But yeah, not too happy this morning when I realized after flushing the toilet that all this water backed up out of the floor drain. Yeah. So that was the surprise for this morning. Happy ending to 2018, because we've got one more surprise for you, and that is your septic's going to have some problems because you were gone and weren't using the system, and you didn't have adequate backfill over the septic. So the trickling condensation from the furnace contributed to a slow buildup of ice, because it hasn't been freezing, but the last few days have been pretty freezing. So that's our best guess. Brian's idea, since I ran it past him, let him know what the heck's going on. He said, why don't we try feeding some, we've got some red PEX tubing in the shed, and we could connect that to our hot water line on the furnace and feed that down through the floor drain and get some hot water current going. The only problem with that is that there's no place for the water to go except back up in here. It's pretty much a big, huge bummer. When I realized that I saw all the water back up, and in that moment, I'm not thinking about getting a video of it. I'm just like, oh my gosh, the water's coming in, and I'm trying to vacuum it up with a shop vac. Afterwards, I'm just like, is this really happening? I was hoping to get to the really fun stuff this week, like painting and flooring, and now it's like, oh, one more problem for you guys. You went away for 10 days and didn't have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and so this is the result of it. So So, it's a two-problem thing. It shouldn't be a problem to have condensate running into your drain, and shouldn't be a problem for you to go on vacation, but if your backfill isn't deep enough and it's aggravating a freeze problem, especially when you're going into single digits, and I tell you right now, it's only about 5 degrees outside. It's supposed to get down to almost 10 below tonight. So that's a problem. We've had cold temperatures before, but we didn't have any problems with freezing because our water usage was more, in like a bolus. We'd have big amounts of water going down the drain at a time, not just a trickle. So I think that is the main cause of it, is the fact that it was a trickle over, 2 weeks or something like that. We'll see if we can figure this one out, guys. What do you normally do when you get frozen septic pipes? What's the verdict?
There's ice in everything.
There's ice in everything. Okay. You think it's not going to work anymore? Ever?
That's the dosing chamber. It's not going to work anymore.
Oh.
There's a float in it and it's frozen.
Okay.
There's like 2 inches, an inch of ice.
Oh, okay. So about 2 inches of ice on the surface.
Maybe not even an inch.
Okay.
But I don't. It's got to be heated up somehow.
Right.
And there's ice all the way up to there, at least.
Right. It doesn't seem like it. How could you even bury it anymore? It's like only 2 inches away from the top, so.
Well, we get more extensions for the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a 1 foot extension. I could buy another 1 foot extension and then bury it.
Uh-huh.
It's not like this is insulated. The cold
Right.
air gets down in there.
Right.
Hey.
So Brian brought the garden hose in so we could warm this up a little bit so it could be a little bit more flexible. Don't know if there's any residual water in there. And he's already outside over at the tank over here. We flush
I
it.
guess put hot water in there.
Yeah, and get this one cleared out first and then work our way back. Because if it's only, you said an inch of ice, we could clear it out.
The water flows on the top of the system. So the sewage goes in there, then the effluent comes to the top and then drains over into the next chamber from the top.
Right.
When that's frozen at the top, it's not going to drain over.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
That's the float system right there.
Right. Be icy. Could try to break it up and just pull the ice out and then work on.
Yeah, but that's all nasty sewage. You don't touch it.
I know.
Colander. Now we have to dump some hot water in there.
Mm-hmm. Getting out the frozen ice off the top. First order of business. So Brian got some holes in the bottom of the bucket there. A little bit of a strap to help capture the ice. This just sinks it down in there.
There you go.
Do not eat the ice. Get out.
Come on.
That's a pretty big chunk. That's at least 2 inches thick. Now move to the first tank. So we completed the second tank excavation of ice, and now Brian's breaking up the first tank. I'm gonna back up. So that's all the ice that came out of the effluent tank. Pretty watery down there now. We just want to free up that flotation pump there. Make sure that's working right. Oh, seems to be a little thicker on that side of the tank. Brian had to break out a larger board, try to bust it up. Stay out of the splash zone. Yeah, we're getting the thickest ice in this spot, so Brian's thinking that the edge of the tank right here is too close to the surface, not enough dirt. We're getting 6 inches of ice in this little section. Like back here, we only had like 1 inch in a couple spots, and down there, 1 to 2 inches, but here it's like 5 to 6 inches. But in the meantime, since we can't really move dirt right now, what do you guys know about submersive heating elements? Is there anything that we could put into the tank that's like a big aquarium heater, and we could keep the tank warm? Anything like that? What do you guys know about? Here's our shortcut hole to the outside, so we don't have to use all of our length of our hose. So we're on to part 2. We got as much ice out of the septic as we could. Just some really big chunks. We'll just have to let them melt or something. So, feeding the hose out and then connecting it to the hot water, which is on the left. See how far this reaches. Okay, that's a lot of hot water. Let's see if this works. So hot water plus pressure. Hopefully we get some ice melt out of this. I think the temperature's warmed up to about 15 degrees, maybe 20. No, still feels pretty cold. I think the high today was 15. About 6 inches or?
Yeah, a little more than that.
A foot?
It's almost 2 feet already.
2 feet? It's good.
This will work good.
Good.
I need to. And we're already 4 feet up.
Oh, 4 feet. Sweet.
At least.
Well, maybe you can go the other direction from the pipe there, down, to melt, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it'll come out. I'll watch for it to come out through here.
Yeah.
So it looks like we got about maybe 5 more feet before you run out of hose. Do you feel a resistance, or you just keep feeding it?
There's not as resistance.
It's all coming out. Would you see toilet paper or something?
No, just a gush of water.
Oh, a big gush of water. So now it's going up really easy. So must have broke through the big blockage. So now we check what? We got to check this end right here, right?
Yeah.
Make sure that's flowing out.
Touch that.
Ugh. Do you want those kitchen gloves, like the rubber gloves?
Yeah.
Phew, that smells great. So now we're back to the third tank, the effluent tank. This is the one that's got the float pump, so we really want to make sure the ice is gone up and around the float so that it can move freely. So we don't want to chip away at it with some hard device, so not to damage it. So we'll probably be soaking this one for a while, make sure it's functioning. And maybe in the meantime, some of this hot water can shrink some of these ice cubes that we found in They were just so big we couldn't pull them out with a bucket. We were looking online. Brian was trying to think maybe he could get a big... Yeah, the ice tongs. And that way we can pull out big chunks of ice if we need to. We'll just have to keep an eye on the system over the winter. Make sure it's not freezing up on us. But hopefully as we get introduce more hot water into the system and use it more regularly, we won't have this problem the rest of the winter. And then it'll buy us some time over the spring to add more dirt to the mound. Nice and steamy. Just the steam bath you always wanted. Here's a steam shower.
It's like we're at Steamboat.
Oh yeah, it's like we're at Steamboat Springs. You know how it smells downtown there. So it looks like we got water flow into the effluent tank. It's coming in pretty good right here so it's coming in now. We just want to make sure that the pump's working. So at least we got water flow. We got water flow from, I think, from the house all the way down to the tanks now, thank God. Now we're going to make sure this is working good too. And get a whiff every now and then. Let the poop jokes begin, or have they already begun? Oh, phew. So, I don't even know what to say, other than I'm glad that shit's over. Oh my God, I could go on. There's so many jokes here. At least we've got the ice blockage out. We're not out of the woods yet. Obviously, we've got improvements to do on the septic system itself to get more dirt on the system. What we noticed was ice buildup on the septic tank on the inside was much thicker in the middle of the tanks, especially the tanks that were the closest to the downslope of the hill. So there was a lot more cold exposure coming in there. And like you saw, we were pulling chunks out that were 6 inches thick. And there was chunks that we couldn't even get out of that middle tank. So Brian's, he just purchased a pair of ice picks, the grabby kind, whatever those are called, ice clamps, for fishing out those big chunks. Obviously, this problem's been going on for a long time, and aggravated by the fact that no bulk water was getting flushed down the system, so that kind of contributed to the pipe itself, the drain pipe itself, getting clogged. Probably a little bit of a contribution from the furnace condensate water. So that probably had something to do with it in 10 days' time. But obviously the shallowness of the lack of dirt on the south side of the septic field on the septic system itself is probably the primary contributor to the freezing. Because there were spots in the tank where it looked like it had frozen a couple of layers of ice. So perhaps the ice was frozen and then the water would come through and go out. Who knows? That's our best diagnosis, is that the tank had been freezing for some time, but water was still able to move through. And then finally the drain tank itself froze from lack of use. And we haven't put any hot water really down the system. By the time I'm done doing dishes, the water's lukewarm cold. So it's... haven't had the benefit of hot showers, hot baths, hot water going into the system. So it's just been icy cold water just sitting there, and 10 days of stagnant, unmoving water is what enabled that drain pipe to freeze up. So I'm just glad Brian was off today, New Year's Day. Woo! What are you guys doing? Probably shopping for something fun. But we're glad. I'm just glad that this didn't go into the weekend. So we're gonna he's working on kind of melting out the ring of ice that was around the areas that we chipped out. Because we chipped out, we were chipping out all along where we could reach, but there's still kind of like a ring of ice around the surface of the tank. So what do you recommend in the meantime as far as maintenance for our tank so we don't get additional freezing this winter? We could go in periodically and break up the ice. That's a stinky job thing. 2, we could get some kind of submersive water heater. I don't know if there's something like that that's designed specifically for septic that's safe to use. I did look online and see a septic heater system that vents hot air down into the septic itself. Very expensive though. It was almost $1,900. maybe that's good for us because, you know, we're at this high altitude and get really cold winters, and maybe that's just an insurance we need to consider. So love to hear what you guys think as far as what we need to do to keep our septic from freezing for the rest of the winter. I think we're probably in good shape because we're not going to be going away for 10 days anytime soon. Probably won't happen again until the weather's warmed up. So we don't have to worry about lack of use. And we're going to be introducing hot water into the system probably in a couple of weeks, you know, once we get the shower and the bathtub connected. So that and the sinks and all of that. So I don't think we're going to have this magnitude of a problem, but the fact that we need more dirt on the system is a given. We definitely need to do that. And I don't know if we could add dirt at this point. So it sounds like the water's slowing down here. I'm going to go turn off the water and see where Brian's at. How's that for ingenuity? Get a little bit of hose right out your wall. That saved us at least 15 feet of hose. Oh, Brian's still clearing out the effluent tank. You got rubber gloves on, so it's like, you know, safety. You just throw them away. Disinfect them. We couldn't really, the water's gone up now, so it's like you can really get your hands on it. Get your hands around it.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a big chunk. Holy crap.
I need you to pull my shoulder.
Okay. Holy abs. Oh.
That's a shitsicle if I've ever seen it.
I thought it was a pee-pee-sicle.
No. It's a mixture.
Oh. Dirty Jobs by Brian Hegger.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Is that Mike?
Mike Rowe.
Okay, he's got nothing on me, man.
I know. No, there was an episode where he was just in a complete sewer, I think. So I don't know. Oh shit! It's like that game at the arcade, the little pinchers that like have 1.01 pound per square inch of pressure.
Yeah. Okay. How about a hand again?
Oh.
Oh, that's a thick one.
Oh. Oh my God, you can see the outline of the tank.
I know. Maybe I can break that one.
Okay. Someone's gonna need a bath. Did you get it?
Yep. Broke my Schitzelberg.
Shitsicle. Say when.
Good grip. Hold it.
No,
It's pulling me in.
ah, jeez.
My knees are freezing.
Oh my God.
Who does this?
Who does this? I bet this is on everybody's DIY timber frame home videos, I'm sure.
This is how I like to spend my New Year's Day.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, thank God. I didn't pop a hole in the bottom of the tank.
We'll find out soon. You hit the ice though, right?
I did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
This wasn't as thick as I expected it to be.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Single digits tonight, and could have been 2 more inches thick by Saturday.
Right, it at least warmed up a little bit today.
Yeah. Let's go see what it's doing downstairs. It's all functioning properly. And there's no backflow up the drain. Amen. Oh, it's fixed. Thank God. All right, now it's time to paint. So, I hope you guys got some giggles on that one. Brian had a blast.
Yeah, that's a high point. Bobbing for poopsicles.
Oh, so bad. I couldn't. I was like, I wanted to laugh with him, but I don't think he was really laughing that much. But
I was not laughing.
yeah.
I was trying to hold my breath.
Yeah. So yeah. I guess the good news is that we got it fixed and we didn't have to call anybody because it is New Year's Day, and who's going to come out on a New Year's Day and not charge you double for it?
And yeah, how can you imagine how much it would cost to get all that taken care of?
Oh my God. And just how thick the ice was. I mean, it wasn't an overnight or a over vacation problem when it's 6 inches thick in some spots. Yeah. So definitely a problem that's been brewing for some time. We needed a long-term solution, which is probably going to be bringing in the dirt.
Yeah, dirt. And then even as cold as it does get up here, and because the tank is on the side of a hill, I think probably adding a layer of styrofoam right on top of where it is now, and then adding the dirt on top of that will probably make a big difference. Mm-hmm. We'll get 4 more risers that are 12 inches, so we'll add another 12 inches on top of that, which should be significant as far as insulation. And plus, the retaining wall doesn't go all the way past the tank, but it does go all the way up to the tank where we're going to put it. So there'll be a significant more amount of dirt in that area all the way down to the tank, so where it's the thinnest. So I suspect that's where the majority of the problem. Because once I started the hot water, I mean, that worked like a charm. And once I got the block off where it actually enters into the tank, and then started shoving it up there, I mean, it was like 5, maybe 7 minutes before it was all unclogged. So
I was just imagining it taking forever to thaw out the ice, but I guess with the hose and the pressure and the hot water, like a lot of people recommended, it was a magic solution, if you want to call it that. Yeah, so. A cheap solution. Yeah. At least we had hot water, because if we didn't have that, we really would have been working to try to find a solution to that. So anyway, folks, in case
now I just need to soak our hose in bleach water.
Yeah, no drinking out of the garden hose. No way. It's disgusting. Well, so yeah, that's our thrill for today. And you know what? It's only 1 o'clock, so we have time to go to Home Depot, pick out our paint, and get started. Yeah,
I thought for sure this was going to be like a 3-day job.
It felt like a nightmare. I mean, this morning I'm thinking,
so you should have seen my face when as soon as I pulled the first lid off of the tank, and I just saw a big mass of ice, and then I saw the whole thing frozen. I was thinking, oh my God, it's frozen all the way to the bottom.
Now that would have been, that's the stuff of nightmares, not just bobbing for poopsicles in your own septic tank. We're laughing about it now, but
now we're going to be running a little more hot water down the drain.
Yeah, we'll be, now that we're here, constantly and using hot water and not going on vacation for 10 days. No. And I don't think the condensate from the the condensation from the furnace really contributed a lot. I mean, maybe it started the.
I think it contributed to the pipe freezing up.
Yeah.
The drain line, but not the tank freezing.
Yeah, the tank freezing had been going on, obviously. So.
Because it was really thick on that outside edge, so that's where it had been building up, and that's where it's closest to the atmosphere. So that's where we'll dump a lot of dirt and put the foam on there.
Yep. So that's our solution, guys. If you have any extra tips, we'd love to hear them. But definitely want to wish you a Happy New Year. Things are looking up from here, right? I mean, they got to be. This is our lowest point. This was our lowest point. Luckily, it only lasted 24 hours. It wasn't like not having any heat for a week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Not quite as bad. Just had to go to the bathroom outside. Anyway, so we'll see you guys in the next video. We're going to be updating you on the flooring because that's what's happening next. So we're going to be getting to lay some tile this weekend and some paint. Paint first. So we're going to go pick out our paint.
Drywall guys are finishing tomorrow. We got a couple areas just to finish sand and
cleaning up tomorrow.
Cleaning up and
they'll be out of our hair.
Yeah, once we get and there's not a lot of painting, so between Amy might even get that done before the weekend. So
maybe so.
And then
we're rolling. We're rolling with it. We'll have a lot of good stuff coming, guys. But take care and stay tuned. We'll let you know when the next video is coming out, and we'll see you then.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.